Happy Thursday and welcome to the Wolff Den. I'm Matt Wolff, founder and CEO of Ticket Time Machine. Wolff Den is sponsored by In the Club Room, Win Again Academy, Mark Moyer. They're doing some great things with events and networking, so check them out when you can. We're going to have a code soon for some discounted admission to their event with all kinds of ex-athletes and pro athletes and some big players in the sports biz. So welcome to today's show. We got Mell Leis, Director of Sales for L&E PDC Brady. Mel, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
And I see we got a visitor in the back.
Oh yeah, they wherever I am, they aren't far away. Trust me, no matter where I go in the house, they need to be somewhere nearby creating trouble. So please, I apologize.
No, we had Dr. Jen Welter had her dog Tyson on Monday, so we welcome us in the Wolff Den.
All right, good.
It's Wolf with 2 F's, so they don't have to worry about the scary wolf. we're the friendly wolves.
Awesome.
Well, we got a lot to talk about. We've been trying to talk for a while, and so it's good to be able to finally get you on the show. But give everybody a quick rundown of who you are and what you're doing now, and then we'll get back into some of the history.
Sure. So, I mean, as you said, I currently work as Director of Sales for PDC Brady, which is a global corporation, a manufacturing company that's been around for about 117 years. PDC was acquired by Brady about 8 years ago. And that's the company for whom I work, and I oversee their leisure and entertainment business channel. And so what we do is we provide a variety of products and solutions to the L&E space, whether it's theme parks or water parks, whether it's a resort, hotels, resorts, festivals, live events, anything that you would need some form of access or crowd control is what we do. And we can do it from the most basic of a visual identification piece like a wristband to as robust as RFID or cashless, contactless kiosks. Just depends on what the need is.
So if any of our listeners have been to a music festival, chances are they've worn something from you guys.
Pretty good chance, yeah.
And how long have you been with the company?
I've been with PDC for 1.5 years now. I didn't even realize it, but I recognized that I've been there 1 year, 6 months. So before PDC, I was with a company for several years that provided ticketing services software. And so when I got into ticketing, I really found kind of my home, because as a musician, it was awesome to be able to kind of feed my soul as well as have my career in sales. It was the best of both worlds. And so that's kind of how I've stayed in the industry. It's just an awesome industry to be in, especially for someone who, is either really into sports, or really into music, or, is into the performing arts. It's awesome to be able to actually work in the field, almost behind the scenes, as well as feeding that soul,
Yeah, so it's funny it's funny the way people use words, and I think words matter, and obviously I think that's a whole nother conversation about words that matter. But essentially, you guys are selling ticketing solutions now. It's just in a different way, right? Because it is admission.
It is. We usually partner with ticketing companies. So a lot of times the ticketing company, will have the ticketing aspect. So if I'm going to, I think we were just talking about Tortuga Fest, right? So if I want to go to Tortuga Fest, I'll go onto their site, I'm going to buy a ticket, and either right then and there, they may say, you can register your wristband, or do you want to take care of cashless opportunities so you don't have to carry your wallet? And at that point, that's where we step in, and we're providing the wearable, the media, right? So if, let's say I get to Tortuga and I have my ticket on my phone, or I have a paper ticket, I can exchange that for my band that I'll wear for the next day, 2 days, 3 days. That will get me access to the different areas, the different stages, all of that. So that's how we partner with ticketing companies.
Well, the first time I was at a festival that had the new technology on the ticket, it probably was Tortuga. and I put it on, and then I make it tight like 3 days early, and then realize that once you do that, there's no going back. So I was wearing my Tortuga wristband for like 3 days. What the hell are you doing? But now people know. I mean, look, there's always ways of getting around it because they don't check how tight it is. It's so people are taking it off and reselling it. There's always going to be someone trying to circumvent the rules, and but that's a pretty good way to to keep it at a minimum. I would say.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of ways to mitigate fraud, right? I mean, the secure lock, like you're talking about, that is certainly the most basic way. Once you put it on, you can't take it off unless you cut it, right? But when you start dealing with RFID, there's a way that is associated with Matt Wolff. Your tag is associated with you, and you go to the front desk and say, "Hey, man, I lost my wristband. I need a new wristband. Well, my wristband was stolen." They'll deactivate the chip.
Right.
And they give you a new one. So, somebody, I mean, granted, if it's visibly a visible check, you might not, that person might be able to get away with taking somebody else's band. But if you have to scan in.
I'm saying they sell it to the scalpers. Hey, if I want to buy a 3-day, give it one, and you can share it, which is, they're always going to do that. But no,
there's always a way, right? Yeah. There's always somebody who's going to think about a way. They're going to find a loophole. Right. That's the big. And then what my job is to figure out the loophole and try and
new technology.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So let's talk about technology, because obviously everything is trending towards cashless and contactless.
Yes.
And I understand it. I see a lot of value in it. My opinion is that they're using COVID as a scapegoat to make that transition quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I go like this,
yep,
it's no different than if I go like this with my phone.
Sure.
Right? So it doesn't matter about having tickets, and cashless is good too. I don't think cash is going away, but there certainly is an appetite for cashless options especially at these festivals, because nobody wants to carry around cash in that respect.
Absolutely.
And now you could do it on the wristband too. So it's it makes it that much easier.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And, and I think that cashless is a really, really awesome technology and opportunity. It's super secure, and it is really easy. And I don't have to carry a bag. I don't have to carry my wallet. I don't even have to carry my phone if I don't want it. I have everything right there on my wrist. It gets me into the venue. It gets me into the different tents or areas that I've registered for. I can pay for my drinks. I can pay for merch. I can do pretty much everything with band. And I do believe that the industry is going in that direction. I agree with you in that I think that people can piggyback on COVID as an excuse, but I think that it was already trending pre-COVID. I think COVID just sort of put a spotlight on it and shown the benefits sooner than later, right?
So you guys were doing RFID wristbands before COVID, so
absolutely,
almost all the big festivals were using it in some form or fashion, and I think for them, it's good, because when you walk through that turnstile and you have thousands of people trying to go, I get it. The lines can be very long, and they got to check bags anyway, and so I definitely understand that, and we welcome it, because we're wanting to do the commemorative piece of it, just to give them something extra that they don't have to worry about. It could actually be after the event or at the event. What is the next thing? So you have RFID, you got the wristbands. What's the next thing?
So I think there's a couple of different things that are going to be kind of driving through the industry. I think that, and you and I touched on it earlier, I definitely think that there's going to be a greater call for environmentally friendly products, green products, recyclable products, and we definitely have that solution available. I also think that people are going to be more hungry for data. I think that knowing who's coming through your doors, where they're going in the venue, where they're going at the festival, where they're spending their time, how much money they're spending at different activations, I think all of that is really, really meaningful. And I think that that will become a very important piece of the experience moving forward. It's certainly something that we're working on at PDC in terms of having kind of understanding the guest journey, understanding the fan journey. I think about a huge expo like South by Southwest. If I go to South by Southwest, then you can follow where I go over the course of 3 or 4 days. Well, how long do I spend at different areas? Who's getting my attention? Because that's going to translate into really meaningful marketing insights and sponsorship information, in terms of where the fans are spending their time, who's drawing the most attention and traffic, what's exciting, more so than just sending out a survey and like, what was your favorite, session? It's like in real time, you're seeing how many folks are going where, spending how long there, how much money are they spending? Are they returning to that activation? Are they, I think it's really meaningful insights and understanding the audience and what drives them.
Yeah, well, let's say we got some couple people there. Corey, my boy Corey, I love the picture. I got that for Corey. Looks great. Nobody is more excited for concerts to come back than Corey. He is I thought I would go to a lot of concerts. He's a concert fool, and I love seeing him at the concerts. Hopefully soon at the what the heck is it called now? I think amphitheater. I always come up and say hi to him. So Corey, we're actually going to have Corey on the show probably next month. Thanks for the support. Always good to see you here. And Brent, he hates concerts, so I don't even know why he's listening. But we welcome him here. He's a big supporter of the show. So let's talk about data. That's what's driving all of this. The contact list, the cash list. They want to be able to track your data, and I understand the value in that. I think it's a little much because I'm getting spammed all the time, and then also my opinion is that you have to go beyond the numbers sometimes with what I always call immeasurable data, and they don't want to hear that because you can't measure it, so you can't put a dollar amount on it. But in some cases, you might be talking to the right people, but talking to the wrong person.
Correct.
And that data might not really show you anything because it's not, it's all like AI type stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's not someone who's actually watching you. So if I was following you around the festival and I was tracking you with a wristband around the festival, probably might have two different stories.
So that's a good point. I think that there's also going to be, there's responsibility. When you're talking about capturing data and capturing insights, there's a responsibility there, right? There's a responsibility for the festival owner or for the event organizer. There's a responsibility for the user. So when I buy my band to go to Coachella, and I know that I'm going to be using that RFID band, and I agree to using it for cashless purposes because it just makes life easier for me. I also know that I have to sign off on how that data is used. And if I don't opt in for it to be shared with Pepsi or Budweiser, I can control that piece. At the end of the day, my responsibility as a key vendor, as a key partner in festivals or events, I'm providing valuable insights. So Matt Wolff is throwing this huge festival called the Wolff Den. It's 3 days on the beach. It's going to be kick ass, right? Matt wants to know of his 30,000 attendees, how many are coming on day one? How many are coming on day two for the second part of the show? How many are coming to the morning gig on the beach? How many coming to that noon concert? How many people are buying Budweiser from tent A versus Corona from tent B? I'm providing you those insights. Now, you have the responsibility to manage that data in a real way and also be really clear with me of how you're using it, right? So now if you let me know, hey, by the way, Mel, I'm also going to sell your data to Corona because they're going to want to know of my 30,000 folks, how much beer did they sell to those 30,000? What day was the biggest day? What time of day? So I think that we have to also understand the responsibility and kind of accountability in terms of everybody either buying in or opting out.
Well, I mean, it's all small print, so I'm not. People might not even know to opt out. I'm not even worried about that. Everyone gets all afraid that they're going to know. People know everything they want to know about you.
If you're
I'm going to get an email from South by Southwest, Coachella, and Tortuga before the end of the day today.
If any version of social media, trust me, people know.
You got to go off. If you don't want anyone to know, you got to literally go completely off the grid.
Absolutely.
It's like literally, it's not even an exaggeration. Off the grid completely. But how about this? Matt Wolff doesn't drink beer, but Matt Wolff is the designated guy who's going to the concession every time and buying his friends all this beer. And I got a bunch of rowdy friends. So Matt Wolff bought 15 beers this time, but he didn't drink any of them.
Right. That's a great point. And that's where it's down to that level of detail that's virtually almost impossible to extract, right? What I do know is that one of those guests, they went to Corona instead of Budweiser or Pepsi 15 times.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? That's the kind of marketing information that folks, of the 4 different beverage vendors, where did everybody go? Well, clearly we're going to put Corona in the most visible and easy access spot next year at Tortuga Fest instead of down the beach behind the palm tree.
Yeah, I get that. So the bottom line is, tell all your friends to go buy your stuff and don't go to the others so they don't bother you with it afterwards.
Right.
How often do you go to the events? I mean, obviously you started kind of right before, but are you at these events, or is that a good, fruitful thing for you to be at the events, to talking to the vendors there or supporting them once you're there?
I actually believe that firmly. Yeah. I joined PDC just prior to the world changing on us. But I am a huge festival and concert goer anyway. Like I probably go to 20 to 25 shows a year anyway. So this has been an extremely challenging time not to get out and see live music. So I'm constantly going to these kind of venues and events anyway. If it happens to be one of my clients, even better. But I always think that, if you're working with an event like that, of course you want to show up and show support. And, and not only that, but be a paying guest. You know what I mean? Like I would never want to tap somebody for free tickets to something so I can go to their event. I want to support the business. I have a couple of friends who throw festivals, and I buy tickets to that event. I don't go as their guest I want to support them.
I will go as their guest if they ask me to, but I'm always happy to support my customers and friends. We do that however we can.
Absolutely.
And so being at these events, I was saying the other day how fortunate I am for all of these great events that I've been to in my life, and look back on the events that I've missed since having to not be able to go to them. I mean, that's a lifetime for some people, just in 1 year. And so I really am fortunate and missing it a lot. And concerts, I've been to some sporting events. Concerts definitely is going to be great. Festivals, we'll see. I mean, I'm all about going to the amphitheater and sitting on the hill away from everyone. So that doesn't bother me. But to be at a festival with all, there's bad behavior at festivals that nobody cares about, especially if they've had a few drinks.
Right.
So, and I'm used to being at these packed festivals. It'll be interesting to see how they do that, whether they'll keep.
I think that we're going to see. Yeah, I think we're going to see reduced capacity really playing a huge piece of this as folks sort of proceed with caution. Cautiously optimistic for this season. But I suspect that, and I'm still thinking, around July we'll see events starting to really come back, festivals and live shows like that. I'm 99% sure we'll see it at a reduced capacity so that the max crowd is manageable. But
That's tough though. I don't know how they're going to manage it. I think once you get to 50%, it almost doesn't matter. So short of you like really keeping things separate and 20%, but it'll be interesting. Are they going to sell $20 beers instead of 14 to make up some revenue?
Gosh, I hope not.
$25 cocktails.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I have no idea. But I do know that people are chomping at the bit to get back to, even if it's 25%, 30%, I will certainly be part of that crew to participate because, it's interesting because this past year, more than ever, I think folks needed a lift. They needed something to look forward to, somewhere to go just to kind of leave the heaviness of life in general and go out and dance or laugh or just enjoy music. I think it was ironic that at a time we needed it the most was exactly when we couldn't have it. So I think it's going to really, it's going to make it more appreciated than ever this first year or so being back at shows and events and even going to like a theme park, a water park, going to Disney, just going somewhere to enjoy the day and forget about all the kind of everyday stuff we have to deal with. I think people are going to appreciate it more than ever, and I think people are ready.
Are you a theme park rider, roller coasters?
I think I was when I know I was as a kid, but as I've gotten older, I just, what? My favorite theme park is a beach. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to go. And when I go on a vacation, I want to pretty much do nothing. Like, I'm totally happy going to the gym, spending the entire day at the beach, eating. And that's it. That's all I want to do.
I love roller coasters. My nieces and nephews love them. Brent, if he's still listening, he loves roller coasters. I was fortunate enough we did a family trip to Cedar.
Oh yeah, Cedar Fair.
Cedar Point by Cleveland. Best roller coasters I've ever been to.
Is that right?
Yeah, really awesome. There's probably like 6 or 7 rides that are just worth the wait when you get there.
Awesome.
Well, let's talk about the beach, okay? Because I know that you used to live in Key West.
I did.
And Key West is probably my favorite city in the U.S. And the interesting thing about Key West is when I'm there, I spend about 1% of my time at the beach.
That's right. That's
so, yeah, I'm a pool guy to begin with anyway, but there's not a lot of great beach area there, and the seaweed on the bottom of the floor was so let's talk a little bit about your journey. And Brent loves when I say journey.
Yeah,
how did you get to Key West? Where did you start?
Yeah. Well, I grew up in New York. I'm a New Yorker, and no matter where I live, I'm a New Yorker. That's just the deal. And I left New York to go to school in Boston, and I was at Berklee College of Music, and I got into the nightclub scene by both playing out, but also bartending and kind of getting wrapped up in that whole thing. And I started managing clubs, and so then I had this great idea. I went to the Cape for a summer, and I met somebody there, and they said one night, very late after a lot of alcohol, they said, let's go to San Francisco. And I said, sure, why not? Right. And so off I went to San Francisco, and I spent a year out there and saw like the caliber of the hospitality industry and the restaurant scene. And really, I had fell in love with it because I was working in fine dining when I lived in Provincetown. And I got very excited about it. So I came back to Boston and got another degree in hotel restaurant management. And as soon as I was done, I was back out to San Francisco. And I ended up working for some amazing houses, some amazing chefs. I was very fortunate. I think I worked for a total of 4 James Beard chefs. The last restaurant we opened, I opened it from ground up. It was the first time I had gotten a chance to kind of build something from concrete, and I was working with a guy who decided he was going to move to Key West and start up this this kind of software kind of thing. I can't even explain it, Matt. It was just crazy. But anyway, I found myself completely enamored and saying, yeah, I'm going to do that too. I'm going to invest in it. I'm going to go down there. And I ended up going to Key West, and I stayed in restaurants. I managed restaurants. I did a whole lot of wine consultation because I got really into wines living in San Francisco. And you know, in all honesty, and I know I've shared this with you, and I have no problem being that transparent, but years and years and years in the restaurant industry and working into the wee hours of the morning and being on an opposite schedule from the majority of the world. And, you know, I ran with that. I ran with it. And, you know, the drinking and the partying and all of that. And I landed in Key West and I was like, oh my God, this is heaven. Like, I was fine. I looked around, I was like, I'm fine. I don't have any problem. And I was there for, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years, and crashed and burned in Key West because there are no rules, you know? And so.
Which places knew you as a regular? Because we go down there, we see the regulars there all the time, and they're not going to the same places we're going to.
Oh my God. I lived around the corner from a place called Don's Place. And actually the owner's son actually ended up sharing a house with me for a while. I was at Turtle Crawls all the time. I was at, where did I go all the time? I was at Don's Place a lot. And I'll be honest with you, there were a lot of times I went to Atlantic Shores a ton. But you know, no matter where I went, you knew I was coming because I was not quiet and I was not, you know, shy or you know, it was definitely an adventure, and I survived myself, right? So Key West was really kind of the end of the road for me. And when I had met my ex-wife in Key West, and we kind of, you know, found ourselves going down fast and furious at the same time. And I ended up moving to Pennsylvania with her, where we did a major life change. You know, I got sober in 2001, and had to rebuild everything, right? I had to kind of figure out how the hell what am I going to do now? No more restaurants. I had done that for like 17 years, no more, right? And I found myself in technology and in sales specifically. And it was an easy transition because when you're managing fine dining and you're taking care of guests every night and you're making sure you anticipate their needs and they know that you have them taken care of, you know, you anticipate what they need. They never want for anything. You're felt but not seen. That kind of mindset. I just took it and applied it to a different type of guest, a different type of customer, a different type of client, and it works. You know, making sure that you're always in front of them when they need you. You have the answers to their questions. You can anticipate what their needs are. You can solve for them in a real way, in a timely manner, and exceed expectations. Right? It all is the same formula. And so I've been in sales and especially in technology for since 2001, and here I sit. So from Key West, I was in Philly for a while, and at the end, after I ended the marriage about 7 or 8 years ago, I was kind of figuring, what am I going to do? Why am I still here in Philly? You know, I really miss Boston. I miss San Francisco. Let's see, where should I land? And I kid you not, within just a couple of weeks, my sister told me she was the last one of us to leave New York. She said, I'm leaving New York. I'm moving to Vermont. And about a few days later, I got a job offer from Boston. I said, well, that's it. That's where I'm going then.
Yeah,
that's it. Here I sit with you in the Wolff Den.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. So I always have these like follow-up questions about some of the things you said, but it's interesting because Key West is one of my favorite places to go, and I don't go there anywhere near as often as I should, and it's only about a 4.5, but it could be a tough drive from South Florida.
Sure.
But I'm a creature of habit, and the funny thing is that the restaurant bar that you and your ex-wife owned is the place that we would go Friday happy hour every single trip.
Is that right?
You get the wings and the drinks.
I did not own it. I just worked there.
Okay, you worked there, so she owned it.
I would never take credit for that. That was not mine.
But it was great. I know they've changed ownership since, and we still go there once in a while. But I'm such a creature of habit, and I always say they're building a bullet train from here to Orlando. If they ever went down south and built one from here to Key West, I would buy property there and have an office there and be like, all right, I'm going down there. We'll work 3 days a week down there.
It really is a beautiful place, you know. I mean, if you go down there with the right, if you're not me and you can go down there and enjoy it for the beautiful place it is, I highly recommend it. Right.
Yeah, but every time I'm there, I'm on vacation and we party a lot. It's interesting though, because on Twitter, I see a lot of people talking about, you know, them being sober. And I know people who are sober and they're a long time. And it's very impressive because I don't think I have a problem with any one thing. But if you ask me to give up alcohol, if you ask me to give up chips,
yeah,
or, you know, I don't know that I could do it. Sure, I could do it for, you know, whatever that period is, but to have to do that for the rest of my life and to be at a point where I can't even indulge a little bit because doing that could set me off.
right.
Is it possible to go sober, but kind of like contain yourself, or does it has to always, I'm not talking about maybe for you, but from what you know about it, for anyone, can they do it in moderation, or does it have to just be, does it have to be cold turkey?
Yeah, you know, I think it just depends on the individual and what I know about this disease of alcoholism. Like if you are an alcoholic, you just don't, you can't have one. There's no such thing. Why bother, right?
Yeah.
It just does not. So, you know, that's why we don't think about it in terms of I'm never going to do this again. You know, that's why the old adage of one day at a time really comes from. So all I have to do is not do it today. I can do that. I can do anything for a day, right? And then it really, I mean, also most people don't drink the way I did. Most people don't have the same results and consequences I did when I drank, you know, and so that's kind of the differentiator between an alcoholic and someone who likes to party. There's a big difference.
I think they do a good job in entertainment about portraying that, to where it's like you're not drinking absolute martinis if you're an alcoholic. You're drinking the Popov, right, $6, and the jug is this big.
Hell yeah, you start with a martini, but trust me, you'll finish there, right?
So I think they do a good job, and no, I know people who are sober. I know Ken Block of Sister Hazel is one. My guy Kosha Dills is a rapper. He is sober for a long time, and his stuff got him into trouble. So I think, you know, as we think about the things that we went through, to be real fortunate that, like, you didn't end up in prison, or you didn't end up in a situation where you really ruined your life, you know, to where you couldn't come back to it. So another thing to really feel fortunate about, because there's a lot of people who can't get away from themselves with any type of disease. It could be alcoholism, it could be, you know, these mental health diseases that drive them to, you know, to suicide and things like that. And
absolutely,
really can lose everything. So, and kudos to you for being able to maintain it through being in the industry. I mean, that's even tougher, right? To be in an industry where you're, you know, it's alcohol is prevalent, and I mean,
you know, well, I have a really good tribe of folks, you know, that we kind of support each other and hang in there. And the other thing is, you know, I have never made it a secret about my sobriety. I've never hidden it. And so I think that by virtue of the fact that I am open about it, some folks aren't, you know, and there's a reason they call it anonymous. I've just made a concerted choice to be open, because that way I put it out there. And so when I do go to dinner with clients, or I do go to dinner with staff, or I do go out with friends, they know I'm not drinking. They know it's not a
what do you drink? What do you like to drink at home and out?
I drink an awful lot of seltzer water.
Yeah, I'm excited.
If it's time to go out and have some fun, there's nothing that beats a virgin mojito.
So you do drink like a virgin drinks?
Yeah, on occasion. Most of the time it's seltzer.
Yeah. Favorite seltzer?
What's that?
I'm the black cherry seltzer guy.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I have tons of it in the house. I stopped buying soda like 7 years ago. I don't have soda in the house. I just drink a lot of seltzer and a lot of iced tea. And
it's fun. I never have soda in the house, maybe for a Super Bowl party. And I love soda, but I basically never drink it. And that happens to be the one thing that I could kind of just not drink, even though I love it. And it's a very weird thing for me, but it just, I don't know. I would drink soda every day if it was not unhealthy for you.
Yeah, exactly. And so once in a while, if I'm out and about, I'll have a Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi or whatever. But I run, they're super sweet when you don't have them for a while.
And now these days, though, that type of drinking can be just as expensive as everything else when you're out. It's crazy.
But it's all going to kill you. So
$6 for a bottle, for a seltzer or a soda at a game.
It's crazy.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
It's like it costs you guys 6 cents. That's a hell of a markup. I need to start marking on my tickets that way. No, you don't want to do that. All right. So do you go back to Key West ever?
I haven't been back, but not that I wouldn't at this point. I've been down to Miami a handful of times. I have a really good friend who lives in Miami who we work together, and she's just like a sister. And so I've been down a handful of times. I travel. I love to travel. That's one of the things that I really started doing. And I did it I travel on my own quite a bit, and I just haven't made it back down to Key West.
Yeah.
Not that I wouldn't, but I just haven't.
As soon as they open up to where I can go enjoy my Key West experience the way I do it.
Yeah.
My friends are going down there this weekend, I think, for a bachelor party. So my bachelor party was in Key West a year ago, January, which was right before everything shut down. And I really had a great time. We were riding scooters and eating at my favorite places, and it was great. But I'm looking forward to getting itching my travel bug. Where do you like to? I usually ask this at the end, but we'll ask it now since we're talking about travel. Where is your favorite place to travel outside the U.S. and what's a bucket list that you haven't been to?
Oh, good question. So I go back to Bermuda every year. Bermuda is absolutely my favorite place on earth. And I spent a lot of time there with my family growing up in New York. And, once I got a bit older, I went back with a couple of friends. And now I've made it an annual trip. I go back around my mom and dad's anniversary and I celebrate my parents for a long weekend because it's really close together. But it's probably the most beautiful, pristine island. The people are just beautiful, and it's just a special place for me. And it never fails. Like as soon as I step off the plane and take a deep breath, I'm like, oh man, I'm home, right? And so it's nice. This year, next month, actually, I was supposed to go September of last year. Where were we supposed to go? We ended up COVID pushed things out a bit. And so we're going in April, and I'm actually going back for the first time in probably 25 years.
Wow.
Maybe longer, with my sister.
Okay.
I'm taking my sister with me and a friend of hers that traveled. We spent time in Bermuda when we were all like 12, 14 years old together. So we're all going back together now this year in just about a month. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, my friend Rob, he has a family trip to Aruba every year, and they had to miss. Where is your bucket list? Like, where haven't you been that you'd like to go?
Greece. I've never been to Greece. I would love to go to Greece.
Yeah. So Camera says invest in SodaStream. We actually have a SodaStream. I put it on the registry. So somebody bought it for our wedding, and SodaStream is great.
That's an awesome idea.
Yeah. I missed. Where was the place you would love to go to?
Greece.
Oh, that's on everyone. That's high on my list.
I would like to go to India too. I'd love to go to Africa. There's a bunch of places, but Greece always comes first. It's someplace I've wanted to go since I was a kid, and I haven't made it there yet.
The three places I recommend that I've been to that I like the most were Ireland. You can go to you can see that whole entire country in a week, and
yeah.
It's a great time. Munich, love Munich.
That was I've been to Munich.
And then I was lucky enough to go to Japan. My brother won a trip, and we went to Japan. So those are three. But Greece is high on my list. That might be the number one on my list as well.
I'd still like to get there. Yeah.
Yeah. So you love the beach. What do you? I'm a pool guy, and I'll go in the pool and just stay in the pool and listen to music and maybe have a drink. But what do you do at the beach? You just lie in a chair? Do you read? Do you listen to music? Do you go in the water?
All of it.
Yeah.
And I believe me, I will never snub my nose at a nice day at the pool either. If I'm going on a vacation, it's going to be someplace that has options, and I can be at the pool. I can be at the pool in the morning, go to the beach, be at the beach in the morning, go to the pool in the afternoon. Just being around water. I'm definitely a water kid, and being around water and just relaxing. I read. And in all honesty, a lot of times, no matter, even if I go on a vacation, I'm taking my laptop with me. So there are times where I might flip it open and make sure to check in on things or check my phone. But it's always listening to music, chilling out, trying to catch a nap, reading something, popping in and out of the water.
Obviously, you listen to the Wolff Den all the time, but what
all the time?
Are there any other podcasts that or do you prefer to read? How do you?
Read. I'm not. It's funny because for a bit of time I got into listening to books on tape, a podcast or whatever. But I like to read a book. I like holding it. I like picking it up. I like dog-earing the pages. I'm still like that kid, and so I tend to buy books. And when I get some time to sit down, I tend to go through them. It takes me a while to finish a book. I'm a little bit.
That's why I don't read a lot, because you could ask anyone that I watch. I won't watch a part of a movie.
Really?
And then when I'm watching something, I need that full attention.
Yeah.
It's a movie or show I've never seen.
Yeah.
And so when I read, I have to read and finish it in like a day or two. Otherwise, I lose my interest, and then you start to forget about what it was, and
Never start again. Yeah.
I'm going to use that as my excuse, other than I'm lazy. But I did buy Catcher in the Rye.
I had that book.
And it was from what I recall, it was my favorite book growing up.
Yep.
So because I don't remember much other than Holden Caulfield, of course.
That's right.
I don't remember much about it. So I'm looking forward to rereading that book. Movies and Netflix. How about that? Or what are you into these days?
Well, I definitely am a Netflix kid, and I jumped into Netflix when I was hearing all this stuff about this show called Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I didn't understand what the hell was the big deal. And dude, I blew through 8 seasons in like no time. I could not do enough. And so then I got really into House of Cards, and I followed that all the way to the last season. And I just blew through Ozark, which was brilliant. And
last season's coming up.
I can't wait. And now I got all into and finished The Crown. So now I'm waiting for the next round for The Crown to come out. I never thought I should know better. Like, I'm an addict, so wouldn't I get addicted to a show and just not be able to stop until it was done?
Everyone is.
But other than that, even when watching like regular TV, I'm just a politics junkie. I am a huge fan of Rachel Maddow, and I just follow politics, and I try to watch a little bit of variance so I get the big picture, but I still go back to her because I love the way she delivers the information. And so I tend to get hooked on MSNBC in the evenings, but then on the weekends I'll go to Netflix and get lost in something mindless so that I can check out for a while.
Yeah, I've been off politics for a while. I mean, just because once Biden won and he was inaugurated, I kind of just like, I got to get my mind off of this. I think it's in good hands.
That's right.
There's not going to be a lot of stories, it's funny. I can't even remember how I got really into politics, but it's got to be, 5-6 years ago. It might even be right when Trump announced that I started to get into politics, because I always say this, if I was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and you asked me something about press secretaries prior, and I had no option. I had to give a guess. I would get it wrong. It'd be just a shot in the dark. I had no idea who the press secretary was.
right?
You have to know who the press secretary is. If you don't, then you're living under a rock. So it's yeah, and I'll give a shout out to do you know David Chalian on CNN?
Yes.
Yeah, so David is his mom, Carol, was my third and fifth grade teacher. Love the Chalians. We're at holiday dinners together whenever I'm back in New Jersey sometimes, and David's doing a great job on CNN. Always does a great job. Always look forward to seeing him there. Jason Bateman, by the way, going back to Ozark, my favorite actor. I'll watch anything that he's in.
Oh my God.
He has such a range of his comedy, even though it's almost similar. You know, some people have the same comedic shtick. He has it, but I never get tired of it. And sometimes I get tired of maybe like Will Ferrell, and I love Will Ferrell, but I do get tired of because I know what he's going to do, and it's like it's not as funny as the way Bateman can just deliver it, stick that line. So
I was so blown away by Ozark and the brilliance of it all. I mean, it just was phenomenal, and I'm excited for the next season for sure. Do you like dark comedies? Do you like that kind of thing?
I like everything. I really do.
If you have it, I'm going to put in a plug for my new favorite film because it is just it's probably one of the most powerful films I have seen in years. I don't think I've been so taken with a film since Hidden Figures a while ago, right? Like I watched Hidden Figures and I just wanted to get up and cheer. This film, I've watched it a couple of times now. It is so incredibly powerful and so well done. It's called A Promising Young Woman, and it's with Carey Mulligan. It's by Emerald Fennell, who actually plays, I didn't know this at the time, but she played, I forget the name, Prince Charles' wife now in The Crown.
A Promising Young, I think it's on the list. My wife probably watched it. She's way ahead of me.
It's incredibly powerful. Really.
Take a look at it.
Fun. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about women, right? It's Women's History Month.
Right.
Is that have special meaning to you? Does, you know, is being part of the LGBT community, does Women's History Month mean more? Does it give them more attention? Is that just what are your feelings about, you know, Women's History Month?
You know, I of course I am a huge, I think that more spotlight should be placed on women who have really kind of outdone themselves, you know, where if you look back historically, for example, the story of Hidden Figures, you know, those women who really were behind Apollo, right? The Apollo landing. And it's like the fact that was never really even known, discussed, discovered, it was, you know, is shocking to me. That was a real thing. And I think that we're at a point today in the world where most people, I hope, don't make decisions based on gender. I think that we've been educated, you know, especially, I mean, I think that folks have been educated or are being educated that, you know, should not be defined by gender. I think that it's ridiculous if it still is. And if anybody is still making kind of decisions based on gender like that, they're living in the dark ages. They're missing tremendous opportunity by not just picking the very best person for that role, the very best person for that position, if they're not looking at the big picture. You know, it's funny that there should even be a Women's History Month. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like we're in 2021, and the fact that we have to have that is almost sad. You know, I think that
because there's no Men's History Month.
Well, because you guys got first shot at everything. You don't need a Men's History Month.
No, but I'm saying it would almost make more sense if there was a Men's History Month, because you're like, yeah, we should celebrate men and we should celebrate women, as opposed to why don't we just celebrate these people and it doesn't matter if they're male or female.
I think that we should celebrate achievements. And I think that the reason there is a Women's History Month, the reason there is a Black History Month is because there have been such phenomenal achievements in those specific groups that were not recognized or have not been recognized to the extent they should be. This is the opportunity to do that. You know what I mean? I mean, the fact that I think it is amazing. I had tears when Kamala Harris was sworn in. the fact that we have a woman of color as vice president of this country, and that it took us this damn long. I was thrilled to death when Pete Buttigieg got sworn in for his position in the cabinet, as the first LGBTQ person to serve in the White House in a position of that at that level. It's a shame that it has to be such a big deal. It should be happening all
the time. Like when we can just celebrate it for what it is it's going to be a good day for everyone, I think.
Yeah, and I think
it is like I don't look. I hope this doesn't come off wrong, but you wouldn't even know Pete was gay unless everyone kept saying that he was gay, right?
That's exactly right. He's just an incredibly talented, incredibly intelligent, incredibly well-spoken individual who knows what he's doing. He has his sights are set very clearly, and he can achieve amazing things because he's just very direct, very determined. He's just incredibly intelligent. He should be recognized for those attributes. It doesn't matter that he's gay, right? And so I think we are finally getting closer to being at a place where we can recognize people for their strengths, their achievements, their abilities, regardless if they're gay, straight, man, woman, black, white. It should be about the talents and the skill sets and the achievements and the accomplishments, regardless of all that crap.
But until it happens, they're always going to be like, you could see the headline, "Is America ready for a gay president?" I mean, it's going to be there.
And it's stupid.
Yeah, it's really dumb.
Oh, and so
is it ready for a female president?
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, I understand why we do it, but is it helpful or is it exasperating the different, is it making it separate then? I just want to be able to be recognized for my contributions and my successes in my industry, not because I'm a woman, but because I'm really good at what I do. Right? Not because, you know what I mean? And I think that as a society, I think I'm hoping we're getting there. I also think that I'm probably relatively naive, and I live on a coast, and I've always lived on a coast. I've never lived in middle America, and I just suspect that it might be different there.
Yeah.
I don't think they're ready for that. That's who's not ready, is like for Mel to live in middle America.
But they don't run. They're not the majority.
Right.
It's important, the voting majority.
And so right. That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah, we'll see. I see you mentioned you were a musician. What did you play?
I'm a drummer.
Okay. I see the cat playing drums back there.
Yeah, that was a Christmas present from a very good friend of mine. That was what my cat Wally, who passed. And for Christmas, she decided she was going to get a picture of Wally playing my drums.
That's awesome, actually.
It really blew me away when I opened it. I'm like, oh my God, Wally's playing my drums. Yeah,
You see what's going on with Nandy and Dave Grohl? You know that the 13? I forget how old she is. She's the drummer, and she was like going back and forth on social media with Dave Grohl.
Oh, right. I didn't see that. No.
Yeah, I got to send that to you.
Please do. Yeah, Dave Grohl is phenomenal. Dave Grohl is just a monster musician. Anything he touches, he just is phenomenal.
Yeah, and I have some crazy videos of Travis Barker playing drums.
Oh, yeah?
He's just sick with the stuff he can do, and he's upside down in a sphere and like just rapping on it. It's so awesome to see. Drums. I probably would want to play drums if I could. Drums and sing, like be able to play drums and sing. Yeah. What else do you have in the background? I see some art there. What's behind you?
So that's actually a painting I grew up with. That was my mom and dad's that I managed to score. I was just the first one. I have two younger sisters. I just happened to grab it first.
I got some of those.
One of those, but actually, I am. James Taylor is my main dude. He's my main guy, and I've seen him 47 times now. And so there's a bunch of pictures that I've taken that he signed, pictures with him. That's what's floating all around here. And the last time I saw him at Tanglewood, I wanted to try and do something differently, and so I had him sign my shoulder. And the next day got it tattooed. And we had this whole banter back and forth when I asked him to sign it. I said, I'm going to get it tattooed tomorrow. And he goes, you don't want to do that. I said, no, I really do. Mr. Taylor, I do. It was really awesome. Yeah. So that's
I was going to ask, what's your favorite piece of memorabilia? That's it.
Yeah, I'm wearing it now, right?
Yeah, what's your favorite piece of memorabilia that you got from a show or an event?
Let's see. I mean, I've gotten pretty lucky. I've gotten to meet a bunch of really cool people over the years. Like, I've gotten to meet some of my idols, and I'm really grateful for that. Like, we were talking about fest forums, right? When they did the virtual fest forums. I think that's where we met, Matt, actually, at one of the fest forum sessions online. But 2 years ago, Fest Forums is a conference every year, and it's just, I think, the most amazing, profound gathering of our industry, period. And a couple of years ago when I was there, they were honoring Michael McDonald, and it was Michael McDonald and Kenny Loggins, and we're talking 300 people, right, out in Santa Barbara on the back patio of the hotel, singing acoustic, I got to shake hands and meet Michael McDonald and tell him that one of the biggest thrills when I was about 6 or 7 years old was playing "Taking It to the Streets" on the drums.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? That's just.
He probably loves to hear that. They love to hear something like that.
It was crazy, man. We got to talk for a while, and so I've been very fortunate to have moments like that. That I got to express that to him. I got to meet Steve Gadd, who is my all-time hero drummer, and tell him that, learning late in the evening, by not just practicing over and over and over again until you get it. And then once you get it, you got it. And he goes, isn't that great? Isn't that cool? Isn't that right? Having a conversation with him, that's what the industry avails me, and
who haven't you seen that you wish you would have gotten to see? They could be dead or alive.
Good question. I have to think about that, because maybe the Who.
Yeah, they're still touring, but not the full band, right?
Right. Yeah. Maybe the Who. You can ask me that question on any given day, and it might be a different answer, right?
Ever see Michael Jackson?
I have. I did.
He might be the one for me, because just the way the crowd is around him. I mean,
unbelievable.
You think people go crazy for BTS?
Oh, nothing like it.
Forget about it.
He was mesmerizing. He was like this creature from outer space that just captivated attention. He was unbelievable. I couldn't believe, pretty cool.
Might have been a creature from outer space, like Men in Black type thing. I'm surprised. It was funny when they did. Who was the person they said was it Patrick Ewing? I don't remember. I have to go watch the movie again. Anyway, I'm going to get you out of here on the same question I ask everyone. You have 24 hours to spend with one person, have to be living, and you can't be related to them. Who is it, and what are you guys doing? And I say this because I will be making this happen for someone. Doesn't have to be entertainment. It could be anyone.
I at this minute, at this very living, probably both of my sisters. My first gut reaction was,
you can't be related to them.
Oh, that's right. I can't be related. So I guess my ex-wife is out too, because yeah.
Well, you can make that happen. You don't need me to make that happen.
Right. Living. Rachel Maddow. I was
just going to say, you have to say that.
I would spend the afternoon with Rachel Maddow, just kind of sitting at a beach and talking just about life and experience, because she's brilliant, and I could never tire from listening to her.
I would love to join that. So I'm going to work to make that happen. It's now in the list. Look, really appreciate you coming on the Wolff Den. Always good to talk to you. I look forward to sharing a seltzer with you somewhere. Listening to some good music somewhere. Maybe it's Key West. Who knows? Wherever it is, I'm looking forward to it.
Sooner than later, Matt. Thanks for
everything. Sooner than later, also. So have a great day, and appreciate you coming on. We have another episode tomorrow, and stay tuned.
We'll talk soon.
All right.